Throughout the pandemic, our world has become increasingly more globalized and interconnected. More than ever before, humans have been relying on the internet to maintain friendships and possibly even form new ones. There are 7.9 billion people in our world, with at least 3.9 billion of us online. The interesting thing is, however, while our world's population is increasing daily, the empowerment humans have in the internet is also increasing, as they're able to reach more people through it. Halsey, Justin Bieber, Shawn Mendes, Charli D'Amelio, Greta Thunberg. I'm sure you've heard at least one of these names. These are all people who have been intelligent enough to use the internet to voice their opinions and influence millions of people. They have made speeches in the UN. They have won Person of the Year award. Follow me on this one. Justin Bieber has 176 million followers. If he posts a photo supporting a certain candidate in a presidential campaign, it is likely that all 176 million of his followers look at that photo and possibly consider voting for that candidate. Out of 7.9 billion people in the world, 176 million followers are a staggering percentage of 2.2, which in an electoral campaign, which includes only one country, which in Justin Bieber's case would be the US, is even a larger percentage. The internet has also helped our world in the information area. We here in Brazil can receive news from a country halfway across the globe in minutes or even possibly seconds. In addition, it has allowed us to make food orders at any second. In fact, I'll do that right now. Do you want to eat something? Anything. Spill. However, with all of this ease, dare I say, with all of these smiles and all of these news and all of this speed, we have lost contact. I mean, in the olden days, I would go over to your place. We would eat the food. I would know just through your facial expression if you like it or not. You would see me for whom I am. You would see my imperfections, my emotions. Meanwhile, right now, I stand here on this side of the screen and you stand there. You look at my profile picture, I seem interesting, but you don't actually know me. I could take the Myers-Briggs test, which rates humans' personalities out of 16 and has been in the internet for a long time now. I could take the Rice Purity test, which rates my innocence. I could even tell you my zodiac sign if you're into astrology. However, you still don't actually know me. Humans are becoming increasingly obsessed with creating their own brands, with forming the perfect online profile. We are limiting ourselves. And while we don't actually know each other, we're ultimately given the opportunity to create who we are through the internet. What's your favorite food? Do you prefer pink or purple? Are you an introvert or an extrovert? This or that? All of these things, your favorite food, your favorite color, who your favorite teacher is, what's your favorite subject, they're all fluid in a human being. And they're likely to change over time. If we're forced to concrete them, we will intrinsically be becoming inanimate brands. However, I think it is important that I explain why I chose to talk about humans becoming inanimate brands in my TED Talk, and why I think it's an interesting, yet dangerous and relevant topic. It all started when I noticed how much my teenage friends were talking about themselves. That doesn't seem like a bad idea at first, but then I started to notice how everyone was just marketing themselves at my face all the time. People now have their own logos, their own color palettes, their own brand's typography, even sometimes their own scents. And I mean, I think there's not one person in my generation who hasn't gone out with their friends for a day, willing to take a breath of fresh air, and then spend the first third of the time taking the first perfect photo, the second third of the time editing that perfect photo, And then the third of the time, discussing if the person should post a photo or if they shouldn't, and then finding every nuance of error in the photo so that the person ends up finding themselves ugly. It's like us humans, we're in the stock market and we're all competing for more validation and for the best and the most perfect spots. And the worst part of this stock market of humans isn't that all of these people are competing. It is that some people don't even know this stock market exists, and some people don't know how artificial and how not the real story that is. They look at all of these perfect photos that people spent hours editing, and they start comparing their bodies and their faces to these flawless models. However, my parents have always told me that humans live in a constant path of evolution and learning. And if we're not able to be imperfect and to learn from our mistakes, we're losing out on so much personal development and growth. And that is the most important part of living. You may say, I'm overthinking and all of this doesn't matter. But I say that the lack of overthinking is one of the main problems of today's online world. 86% of people are said to have fallen on fake news and believed in them, believed in what they saw online. You may say, oh, but fake news sometimes are so realistic and they make it so good. Well, some of them aren't, and I can prove that. They're so comic. Some mermaids were said to be found. COVID-19 was said to be discovered from 5G radiation, and dinosaurs were said to be walking the earth again. If people just spent one more second thinking about those news and evaluating the sources, our world would have developed so much today. There's a theory that exists that states that every prejudice people have against different races, different religions, different societal backgrounds, different countries, and even different sexualities is based on this societal habit of labeling and branding people. Us as humans, we don't have limits. We're undefinable, and we're also different. It doesn't matter that a certain statistic or that a certain bias suggests that a minority group is more likely to act a certain way, because we're all unique and we all have our own principles, which come from so much more than our brands or than our group or than our races, religions, whatever. Black people were enslaved in the past. Jews were sent to the Holocaust alongside the LGBTQI+ community and disabled people. These labels, they still exist, and they impact people's everyday lives when they're looked at differently, just because they're, well, different. We're so much more than the amount of likes, than the amount of news, and than the amount of followers and views we have. The power we hold in our hands in this magnificent, misunderstood, and confusing world gives us the opportunity to hide behind screens and overshare ideas of who we are without showing our real and complete personalities. But it is also allowed for continuous growth, bringing about a passion for living and together discovering who we are. Because our different sides and emotions are inexhaustible and boundless. And as people, we must learn to use that virtuously. The internet gives us the power and the opportunity to showcase our interests, our passions, and our opinions. Therefore, we should not limit ourselves to branding, but use the internet as the greatest tool ever invented for personal development and learning ever. In a few clicks, you find the encyclopedia, the dictionary. You ask Google a question and it finds an answer in seconds. Let's not be scared of defying the human societal impositions. And together, let's use our interconnected world to spread information, culture, education, kindness, and most importantly, love.